Preservice Division. Thanks for checking in or observing or catching a later cast of this webinar, How to Survive and Thrive at the NAEA Convention in 2016. My name is Amanda Barbie, and I am hoping to fill you in on quite a bit of the events that we'll be having going on specific to pre-service members. I want to start off by going through a couple tips just in general of this specific and most conventions, then go over our schedule a little bit, and finally close up with our roundtables, just kind of a walkthrough of what the roundtables will look like. I see that a few viewers have joined us since I started literally 12 seconds ago. So if you'd like to be involved in the conversation verbally and be seen visually for this recording, please go ahead and connect with NAEA Preservice. I believe our technical name is NAEA Preserve, as a connection on Google+. Otherwise, feel free to go ahead and fill in the question and answer section that I've just now opened up, and I'll answer the questions as I see them if they fall out of what I was planning on talking with you about. I have everything up, so hopefully this will be very beneficial to all of us involved. Thanks again for joining. Okay, so one of the bigger things that I think pre-service individuals enjoy the most about conventions, aside from the networking and getting to know people from across the country who are just about to enter our fantastic field, is actually the freebies. Oddly enough, it's a really wonderful thing to go through the vendor section several times during your visit. And specifically, I would think about those of us who are still in a few of our studio courses. The sample packets are just enough that I might leave maybe 20% of my suitcase empty for the convention on my way into town, into Chicago. You're going to walk out with some really great painting pens, lots of good Sharpie stuff, always great Sharpie stuff. Last year I got a few Micron pens, which I adore, and lots of different papers, fabrics, foams, doodads, and whatchamahickeys along the way. Also, if you find yourself with some free time towards the end of the vendor sessions, a lot of times some of the vendors don't want to take back everything that they have with them, so you might be able to you know, pack away a few things rather than them packing away a few things. But that's just one thing as you're going along and packing for convention. Consider that you're probably going to get, I don't know, if you think about the fabric grocery bags, which you'll have fabric bags as handouts there. It'll probably be about halfway full if you just make a visit or two. So I just wanted to mention that. I have absolutely had to carry small paint packets and oil pastels in my carry-on the way back, or in my purse. So it might have been smart for me to leave a little bit of room in my suitcase. That's just a little fun tidbit to keep in mind. Another thing is that this year, the designated hotel, the Hilton that we'll be staying at, is probably about a 9 to 12 minute ride to the convention center. If you're staying elsewhere, this obviously doesn't apply to you, but you might want to consider the convention center is a little ways out of the edge of where most of us are going to find lodging. So keep that in mind as you're traveling. Go ahead and start saving now for a cab fare, bus fare, Uber or Lyft. I believe both are in the area. And plan with friends when you're going to be heading out and back in, just for safety in numbers and cheaper fare. Those are two of the specifics. Jessica was unfortunately not able to join us. She actually lives in Chicago and will be happy to include some more details in our next newsletter, which will include a link to this, but she's also going to have a little section where she just fills out some really great advice and things to do. I would also add that if you have not already registered, wow. If you've not already registered for convention, it might be a great idea to look at some of the additional activities that you can do right after you register. Unfortunately, the early bird rate just ended 3 days ago, so you'll be paying the full rate, but that's only $105, which is cheaper if you look at the pull down compared to some of the other types of memberships. Luckily, NAEA does consider that we're pre-service students and have pre-service budgets. So I would still do that ASAP, so that then you can be sure to go to some of these other ventures out and about town. A lot of those you're going to see happening on Wednesdays. So if you've not already booked your flight, that might be a consideration. Or if you're driving in, some of these are on Wednesdays. Excuse me. I'm going to check really quickly. I don't see any questions that have been posted at the moment. So I'll just continue along with the layout of what we were planning. Right now, I'd like to go ahead and cover our schedule really quickly with everyone. And this is specific to the pre-service schedule. If you're already wanting to know, as most of us are, exactly which sessions we want to go to, it's really exciting to plan out all your sessions and highlight what you're doing each day if you're kind of a planner like I am. I would recommend, though, waiting just a few days. The NAEA National Convention app should be out soon. And in comparison to other convention apps, it's actually very user-friendly. Feel free to, I forget if it's friend or connect or tag or whatever, but feel free to make a connection with me. I'd be happy to know what events you're excited about going to and share which ones I'll plan on being at. For now, though, I'm just going to show you my super duper messy screen. But as we're going to it, our events, now you're going to see some things on here that are not necessarily applicable to everyone, but I did want to pull this up in case anybody wanted to write locations, because this is fairly difficult. Or not difficult, it's a large convention center. One thing that you're going to notice right here, entering the art education profession, that's going to be Thursday at 12 o'clock until 12:50. It's only a 50-minute session, and that'll be in the Lakeside Center on level 4. That room's going to be E as in elephant, 450A. Thursday is going to be a big day for us in pre-service, because immediately following that, you can go to, oh, I'm sorry, let me back up. There are 2 different sessions going on at that exact point, and I forgot to mention that. Some of us are excited about going and getting a job, looking into careers. We're planning on probably graduating in May or in the summer, possibly even in December, and we want to go ahead and speak to some people who are on a panel from various areas of our field. We have some administrative, multiple levels of education, community, museum-based, school-based. Since we fill in so many spaces of, our society's education in art, we try to bring a full panel. That's going to be at the room that I just described, E450A, and there will be a panel there led by Jessica and Barry, actually, and that'll be at 12 o'clock. At the exact same time, in a different meeting, say maybe you're not actually looking to graduate right now, and while interviewing skills are always important, you don't need them at this exact moment. You're going to probably want to come hang out with myself and Carla, our past division director, at Lakeside Center E351 on level 3. And that's for the student meet and greet. That's also a 50-minute session. Rather than a panel and rather than us speaking to you or giving you direct advice, it's going to be a good exchange for us to get to meet each other. In planning this, we've gotten some really fun and exciting materials for you to make and take some things with you. So if you just feel like you want to get some hands-on stuff, please feel free to join us for that. After we've all wrapped up in those 2 locations, we're going to head right back over to the second floor. So I'll head down 1 or 2 floors to E251 in the McCormick Place Lakeside Center for conversations with colleagues. This is for a lot of the, for a lot of the other divisions. This is pretty much like their business meeting. We plan on having a lot more fun than that and plan on it being a good time. So we will cover a little bit of business, make sure everyone knows who everyone is, share our opportunities for leadership, which we are desperately in need of, specifically with regional directors. We have 1 regional director, we need 5. So that would be a 1-year appointment. Anyway, we'll go into detail about that at the conversations with colleagues from 1 to 2:25 on Thursday. The last thing that we have going on that would be for everyone, we have 2 events, and the pre-service division reception is Friday night. That is going to be, I had to see you here for this part. That's going to be the most fun of everything that we've ever done and ever do every single year. It's always our favorite thing. Last year, some of our folks who are returning from our reception last year are going to remember dressing up in costumes. We do have a little bit of flair and drama planned for this year, but there's going to be a large change. This time, rather than being more like a professional development experience with some fun, we're going to just center on the fun entirely, since it's Friday night and not starting until 8:30 at the Hilton Hotel International Ballroom on the 2nd floor. And so you might have noticed that's not at the convention center, that's over at the Hilton Hotel. Please come join us, dress up to the nines, make us a part of your evening out on the town in Chicago on Friday night. We'll have lots of fun music, networking and meeting one another and having a good time. It'll be a lot less formal and a lot more come in as you are, go out as you will, a bit of a mixer get together. The other event that we have going on Saturday, which will be from, I'm going to give these times exactly. The Preservice Division Roundtables are Saturday from 1 o'clock until 2:50 p.m. I know many of our folks joining us currently at this exact moment are our presenters, so I want to be very clear with this information. This will be in the Convention Center in E Echo 253 A and B on level 2. This is going to be the largest roundtables that we've done before, which I'm really excited about because we've had, excuse me, we've had fantastic roundtables every single year. I've at least ever been a part of them. For those of you who've never experienced, I'm just going to go ahead and kind of lay it out for you. The first part, which you probably would have guessed, there are a lot of round tables. We set up almost as if you would picture kind of a wedding reception, but without the dance floor in the middle, where we've numbered off 11 this year tables. In the first session, which will be essentially a little over an hour, participants, not presenters, participants will walk in and choose from the 11 presentation tables that they'd like to go to. The presenters will stay at their round table and participants will walk up, enjoy the 20-minute session of presentations, and then go on to another table during the next 20-minute increment and then during the next 20 increment. So in 1 hour, you'll have received 3 small presentations. We don't necessarily encourage that you have to send along handouts, but keep in mind that almost everything you're going to go to is going to be fantastic at this convention, especially if it's your first. It's really the ideas and exchanges and networking and connections and everything that you get for the whole convention will last you out throughout the year. But we really think our roundtables bring a really fantastic, these are our peers, these are people in other universities doing work that relates to us. So as a presenter, you might want to consider making some type of handout takeaway consideration, website to check back on, tiny piece of paper with the website you'd like people to look at, business cards, what have you. If you want to be connected in the future, or if what you're presenting, many of us have, excuse me, ongoing research or developing lesson plans, you might want to consider having a website set up or your email account so that you can get that to them. Also, a lot of people have asked a question about presentation style. You would simply, rather than expecting a large screen behind you or having to worry about any projector, when we're thinking about those types of roundtables, like the wedding again, you probably got 7 people at the table. You were always able to comfortably converse with everyone at that table, and they'd all be able to comfortably see 1 or 2 laptops. If you're actually wanting people to go through images, you might want to bring your tablet and just kind of pass it around, allow people to see. Or if it's several photos, I've had some people make copies of them and have just several pictures on an actual piece of paper explaining almost what slide they're talking about. That's all up to you presentation style, but there won't be anything that will be large and cumbersome. What you bring to the table is literally what you bring to the table and what you pack up at the end of 1 hour. During the next session, we'll follow around the exact same time period. It'll be a new set of 11 presentations and participants. Maybe you were the presenter the first hour. Now you're a participant. I do have one group though that is presenting in both, and that was a really lucky event. So let's be sure to tap them on the back and make sure that they've got all the water and everything that they need. We'll keep you on track for time. We'll make sure that we're moving you through and that you know where you're heading to. And we'll also be sure to get all of you a certificate that proves your participation and presentation. If you're just coming as a participant, you can take a handout. Perhaps you're using this for some type of future. I know some student teachers are able to use this for professional development, so you can consider that. We'll have a little handout. If you need it signed at the bottom, grab myself, Jessica, or Carla. and we'll be happy to sign the bottom of it for you. But basically, this is just a great sharing of ideas. And for those of you who have applied and saw what it entailed, there's really great stuff. There is, thank you, I got my first question. I'll answer that in just one second. There are lesson plans. There are pieces of artwork. This is actually something that I got from one of the presentations previously. It was a very quick, very small make and take. A lot of research that's been conducted by graduate students, and a lot of really great lesson plans. As for the 2 sessions that you'll be a part of, we're still working that out exactly. What we've tried to do is make sure that we're dividing up both which universities. We have a few universities that had more than one application accepted. So at this exact moment, I can't tell you whether you're going to be during the first session or the second session. If that has to do with a travel concern, feel free to email me at AEBarbie, so that'd be Alpha Echo Barbie, BARBEE, .NAEA@gmail.com. If you have to be on an early one because you're going to have to rush to the airport, then we can possibly rearrange some folks. We wanted to make sure we had universities and both topics spread out between the 2 different sessions. One good aspect to being the second to go is that a lot of people kind of wander over between sessions and make their way to ours. We always seem to end up with non-pre-service people coming over and coming in and sitting down in our sessions and being absolutely blown away by what we're doing. Thanks, Catherine. I didn't see who it was from. Thanks for asking that. I'm trying to think of other concerns and questions that you might have. One thing I'd love to encourage you to do, and I will have a link for this in the newsletter that's coming this week, I guess it is Sunday, so it'll be this week, is to consider signing up for the volunteer table. The pre-service table is where, just in case you happen to forget all of this information, which would be totally reasonable, it's almost a month away, is just kind of a meeting location where we'll have some handouts, some reminders, a general information table that we'll have set up just for pre-service division. We'd like to have that set up so that there are student members manning the table at all points from different universities. We're really fortunate this year. This is our second year in having host chapters at our tables, and this year Kent State University is going to be our host. So we're looking forward. There will probably more times than not be a Kent State student from their NAEA student chapter manning our student tables. So be sure to go by and tell them hello, thank them for all their hard work, and grab all the goodies and things that we have. I believe those of us who have been to previous conventions, I think we still have a few more pre-service pins. Those have been, I think we had probably 400 3 years ago, and they're still dwindling down. So come by and get a free pin at the very least. Before I start to close up and double check to make sure that there's not anything else that I want to make sure to mention. Were there any other questions right now? I see that we've probably got about 7, 8 viewers at the moment. I'll double check really quickly to make sure I've covered. All right, so again, just as a very quick recap, make sure you go by the vendors tables to get your micron pens and other great materials. You want to probably bring a plastic baggie. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I have had a temper paint explode in my bag previous times. That was really awful. Please come by Thursday, plan a large chunk of your time, basically from 12 until about 3 to be with pre-service when you're looking at your schedule to pull up. Don't go ahead and print off the schedule yet from the convention. Go ahead and download the app, or wait until you get there. You'll get a really great booklet to get all of that with. It is available on the NAEA website, and you can consider it, but you might not want to print it off for yourself because it's several pages per day. Great question about, is there a suggestion for numbers of handouts we should have? Thank you. I would suggest around, I would think 20, 25. And that's your call. If it's a really long, thick packet, I would opt for having more like a Google Doc. If you're actually only talking about maybe a 2-sided, 1 sheet, or maybe 2 sheets, then I would probably go about making that many copies. Paper is super heavy in packing and carrying and lugging all around Saturday while you're coming to and from all over with the convention. So I kind of want to leave that flexible for you. But you're gonna, you're going to have probably around, let's say, 7 to 10 audience members at the most per 20-minute session. So I think 25 would be a very safe amount to have, 30 at the absolute highest, and that's only if it's a small amount of handouts. Hope that answers your question. Are there any other questions right now about roundtables? It's one of those events that if you've not been to one in a convention before, it sounds really confusing, but we organize it quite well. It's almost a little bit like really slow moving, big group speed dating. We sit for 20 minutes. We let you know when you've got about 3 minutes left. We all, as a complete participant group, you'll get clapped by a whole room full of people, not just the people at your table. And then they'll have to go and leave your table. The next group will choose to come to your table. It's always great. People always walk away with lots of great things to think about. And it's one of my favorite events that I've ever, any roundtables, and my favorite from NAEA. And one more plug, please join us Friday night. We're probably going to set up an RSVP on our Facebook. Our Twitter has not been quite as active as our Facebook has been, so most of our updates will be on Facebook as we're getting closer to the convention. And then we may even really implement a whole lot with apps, seeing what they've updated communication-wise with it. All right, at this point, I'm going to go over the schedule just one more time for specific pre-service. Note that there are going to be some pre-service events or some events that are labeled pre-service that I'm not mentioning to you right now. And that's because they're geared towards pre-service, but they're not necessarily being hosted by the pre-service division. I'm sure that makes a whole lot of sense, but there will be some sessions that are specific to elementary teachers or specific to higher education or museum. The presenter in that case for the full convention labeled who they thought would be the proper audience for it. The events that I'm going to mention again right now are only the ones that are put together by us as part of our organization, as part of the division itself. But by all means, if you are presenting, or one of your professors is presenting something that's specifically exciting for pre-service, we'd be happy to advertise that for you, both at our table and in our newsletter. So be sure to let us know. You can email me personally. One thing that's different is before I go over our schedule one more time, I don't know if all of you have noticed, but we have a new website and it's gorgeous. And I don't know how you feel about the logo, but it's growing on me. The more colors that I see it in, I'm really excited about it. So it's a little bit more difficult to navigate, but if you go over to the right and pull down for audiences, we're pre-service, we're one of the audiences. However, we don't have the same access to our previous newsletters that we did before. So in that case, I would almost say if you're not a part of our newsletter, which is going to come out, as I said, this week, the last week in February, to give you all the other details that I might have skipped over here by myself or that come to be afterwards, pull down towards Contact Us. Actually, I believe that's clicked towards the bottom. It's still really new. And contact and ask to be added to the NAEA Pre-Service Division newsletter. That won't be something I can do for you. That's something that NAEA staff will do for you, and they're really quick and wonderful about it. And then we'll have you on our regular email server. So one last time to go over our schedules. Pre-service has events straight and steady from 12 o'clock until 2:25 on Thursday. At 12 o'clock, we'll have two different sessions going along concurrently. One will be the student meet and greet for students who are not actually looking to graduate in the immediate future. And this is going to be people who may be seeking leadership or want to know what other student chapters are doing in other areas of the country. This is kind of a networking and actually a really fun making opportunity too. We've got some really fun materials that are going to be there. At the same time, on the meet and greet is in room Echo 351 on level 3. At the same time, on Echo 450 is going to be the Entering the Art Education Profession. And that is going to be basically a panel of people from across our field in museum, community, school, higher education, and multiple grade level extensions and versions. I think we even also have a teaching artist coming to speak with you about how they've gotten jobs, what they like when they are interviewing people for positions, where they see people the most often, and what they think is the most successful in interviewing. It's just a really great framing. It's a Q&A session for the most part, broken into 5 different basically topics. We've gotten rave reviews about it when we've done it before. It's actually Carla's, the previous director's brainchild, and it's been a huge hit. We've had takeaway notes and had people have us write up newsletters before. So if you're entering the art ed profession immediately or within the next couple months of the convention, I'd really recommend you go to that one. And again, that one's in 450. At 1 o'clock, we'd love for everybody, whether you're about to graduate or this is your first convention or someone's grabbed you up and dragged you along and you happen to be a college student in NAEA, we'd love to meet you at Echo 251 on level 2. Notice how the room numbers and the floor levels match. They're very detailed with this one. I think this must be a huge, huge convention center. From 1 to 2:25 is conversations with colleagues. And again, this is going to be another kind of getting to know you, really fun making activity, in-depth conversations with other divisions from different areas, both brand new starting off ones and really established ones that are applying for Student Chapter of the Year type awards. This will just be a moment for us to have a little bit more organized mingling between our different student chapters, get to know one another, gain resources from one another, and most importantly, have a good time and discuss what we're doing as a national chapter. As you know, I'm the very first division director to have a full term as all other divisions do. So we still have a whole lot of leadership to set up. We will have elections for the next Preservice Division Director-Elect coming soon. We need regional directors, and we'd love basically to have any type of contact and leadership from anybody that's interested anywhere in our ranks. We are all future teachers, and our turnover in this division is 100%. So anything that we have that we can establish and have sustaining when we move on into the profession will be all the better for pre-service. You know, sort of like not just climbing the ladder, but also lowering the rope down for those that come after us. All right, I'm going to pause one more second and make sure there are no other questions before I go one more time about the... All right, that was 3 seconds. I'm sure if a question pops up, I'll answer it. The thing we're the most excited about, not that all the rest of it isn't amazing, but we're really converting our pre-service reception this year. It's going to be sort of a walk-in, walk-out, drop in as you will, 8:30, and that's going to be in the Hilton. It's going to be at the International Ballroom South, which is on the 2nd floor. Please feel free to come by. Please dress nicely. We'll be sharing our theme in our newsletter and on Facebook soon to come. But rest assured, it's super fun, pretty poppy, and quite colorful. We're expecting it to be actually the most like a party. Actually, we're inspired by Teachers College when they held when we had the Brushes convention, and there was a dance party for everyone coming that first night. So shout out to Teachers College for being the inspiration for that much more fun. And last but certainly not least, the other thing that is just the most satisfying and just really the best and greatest exchange of ideas is going to be the pre-service division roundtables. And that is Saturday from 1 until 2:50. And that is going to be on the 2nd floor. E is an Echo, 253, and that's going to be parts A and B. So as you can imagine, it's going to be pretty large. All right, if you have any questions after this, if there are questions specifically that I can answer, please feel free to email me at aebarbee, and that's BARBEE .NAEA@gmail.com. Or if you have a general question that I or Jessica or Carla or the other leadership that have access to the general email account, and this is who invited you and who this is going through, that's going to be students.naea@gmail.com. Please, please, if you haven't already, join our Facebook, both as the person NAEA pre-service and as the division, which is a page. And make sure to sign up for our monthly newsletter that comes out through NAEA. You'll find that on the NAEA website. At this point, I want to thank you for joining me. I hope that I've answered your questions. We're looking really forward to every single thing that's going to be going on at the convention, and we wish you a wonderful, it's not quite a month now, but I guess wish you a wonderful couple of weeks until we meet all together in Chicago. And again, if you're just wanting fun Chicago advice and fun, that'll be forthcoming in the newsletter. All right. Thanks so much for joining. Have a great time, and we'll see you at convention. Bye.